Hello everyone and welcome to another Tempo Storm Wild Meta video where we highlight decks and strategies you can use to become legendary on the Hearthstone Wild ladder. It's that time of the expansion cycle again, when the next expansion is just around the corner and the meta has settled down. There are tons of viable decks to play to climb the ladder in Wild, but some decks are definitely more popular than others, and there's only so much you can play decks like Quest Mage, Big Priest, and Odd Rogue before things get stale and you have to say enough is enough. In this video, we're going off the beaten path to showcase 4 off-meta legend rank decks that you can play to keep things fresh while still making progress on ladder. Before we get started, be sure to subscribe to the Tempo Storm Hearthstone YouTube channel to stay up to date with our Wild Hearthstone content. Our first deck is sure to be familiar to longtime Wild players. Bat Messiah's Reno Mage is an example of a classic archetype that revolves around the Highlander mechanic cards Reno, Jackson, and Kazakis and their game-breaking effects. Since this deck is made up of 30 individual cards, it gives you a lot of flexibility to creatively assemble combos and build a win condition to suit your matchup. Against aggro decks, you'll fight to stay alive with Mage's removal spells and other defensive tools while striving to rebuy Reno, Jackson, or Kazakis with Zola the Gorgon to lock your opponent out. Against Quest Mage, use Dirty Rat and Deathlord to disrupt your opponent's Sorcerer's Apprentice and Flame Waker combos. Against control decks like Reno Lock and Odd Warrior, a Baleful Banker in your opening hand combines with Hexlord Malacras to go infinite and beat your opponent in fatigue. These are just a few examples, and since dozens of combos are possible, Reno Mage is a great choice for the savvy player who can think creatively and plan ahead. With Reno the Relicologist coming soon in Saviors of Oldham, now is an excellent time to try Reno Mage in anticipation of the new set. Next up is a deck type that's typically regarded as a meme but has recently gained traction at high legend ranks. 27E18's Burgle Rogue is a tempo rogue style deck built around using Rogue's Burgle style card generators like Swashbuckler and Blinkfox. These cards work together with Spectral Cutlass to build and maintain a giant lifesteal weapon. The deck uses Cavern Shiny Finder to find the Cutlass and Deadly Poison and Tinker's Sharpsword Oil to buff it, all while dominating the board with high tempo cards like Underbelly Fence and Vendetta. Thanks to Sap and Vanish, Burgle Rogue more than holds its own against Big Priest and defensive Warlock decks, and card generation from Swashbuckler and Company combined with Valera the Hollow gives the deck long-term staying power against slow decks in general. Since weapon removal like Gluttonous Ooze is not currently popular in Wild, Spectral Cutlass is usually able to grow uncontested. This version of Burgle Rogue feels like a throwback to the old Kingsbane deck with pre-nerf Legion Poison, so if you're a fan of going face with big weapons, you'll definitely want to queue this one up. Speaking of throwbacks, it wasn't too long ago that combo Druid decks featuring the Aviana, Kun the Forgotten King combo and fueled by Juicy Psych Melon were all the rage in Wild. While the Aviana nerf made this playstyle unpopular, it still has the potential to win games on ladder, and Alpha 110 HS's Togwaggle Druid deck is an excellent example. In the early game, the deck draws cards and buys time using Oaken Summons into Archmage Vargoth and Hecklebot, alongside other Druid defensive tools. Once most of the deck is drawn, it uses Aviana and Kun with Innervate or Emperor Thorzen to play King Togwaggle and Azalina Soul Thief in the same turn in order to steal the opponent's deck and beat them in fatigue. What makes this version of the deck unique is that it plays Star Aligner and Archivist Elysiana as additional 7 and 9 drops to maximize the draw power of Juicy Psych Melon. The one of Star Aligner gives you access to a board clear on your combo turn, so you can guarantee that you're ahead on board after you swap decks. Archivist Elysiana is mostly used as a 7 health 9 drop, but it does improve your combo in some situations. For instance, if both players have drawn most of their decks, playing Archivist after Togwaggle but before Azalina ensures you have more cards than your opponent going into fatigue. This is a spicy take on combo Druid, and it's sure to be serious fun to climb with. As for our last deck, Hunter may be one of the least represented classes in Wild, but it's not for lack of power or options. Duin HS's Deathrattle Hunter represents an assortment of powerful combos, and much like the Reno Mage deck, a savvy player can use its power and flexibility to build a tailored win condition to suit any matchup. With draw power from Tracking and Stitched Tracker, you can aggressively dig for key minions like Lotheb and Sylvanus Windrunner, and Play Dead and 9 lives allow you to trigger powerful death rattles over and over again. Against aggro, Mad Scientist and Explosive Sheep work to keep enemy minions at bay. Against Big Priest, Sylvanus Windrunner's Death Rattle keeps the priest from developing any minions to resurrect. Against combo and control decks, Katharina Winterwisp and King Crush with Dire Frenzy will beat your opponent senseless, and if all else fails, Deathstalker Rexar can just win the game by itself. If you feel the need to hunt, be sure to give Deathrattle Hunter a try. The Rise of Shadows meta may be winding down, but there are still plenty of unique decks that you can play to keep things fresh in anticipation of Saviors of Oldham. There are some exciting new cards and developments on the horizon for Wild, so be sure to subscribe to the Tempo Storm Hearthstone channel to keep up to date with our Wild Hearthstone content. Let us know in the comments what decks and cards you'd like us to feature next. Thanks for watching!